So, I've been looking at upgrading to my CZ457 long range precision. This is a precision rifle for shooting mainly target. I mean, okay, you can do rabbit shooting and other vermin control with it, but it's a bigger, heavier stock on the standard 457 action, which makes it ideal for precision shooting with adjustable cheek piece, recoil pad, you know, heavier, longer stock and a better pistol grip. So, the scope I'm going to add is the Element Optics Helix, and this is a 60-24 by 50, but it's first focal plane. I'm a big first focal plane fan, and for those people who don't quite know what first focal plane is, it means that through the zoom from 60-24, the reticle appears to get larger or smaller as it goes up and down. What that does mean that corresponding to the image, the marks on the reticle, which are hold off in probably milliradians or minutes of angle, depending on however you want to choose them, will give you exact aim offs. So you can, as well as dialing, so I say adding 10 clicks for 1 milliradian on a scope, you can aim off the exact hash mark and it will be identical, and that's regardless of magnification setting, because on a second focal plane scope you don't get that assuredness. So let's open the scope. So in the box we have a nice Element Optics sticker. We've got an instruction manual. So owner's manual and reticle information. So, okay, reticle information is useful to know, and it's one of the big things that helps us. Okay, obviously being first focal plane it is slightly simpler, but it gives us all the holdover marks and a lot of the specifications. So 60-24 times magnification, 30mm main tube, 50mm objective lens. The exit pupil is 9.1 to 2.2mm, which means that at lowest magnification the exit pupil is largest and at highest magnification it's smallest. Eye relief is 3.7 to 4 inches. Well, 4 inches is about 100mm. 3.7 to 4 inches gives it a versatile usage, and it keeps your head a long way from the scope. So you're not restricted to just low recoil items like rimfires or air rifles. The field of view is at 100 yards, 18.3 to 4.6 feet, again relative to zoom ratio, which at 100 metres translates to 6.2 to 1.5 metres, again all very normal. Now the click values, we can have quarter MOA, which is 15 MOA total per revolution, or if it's in the milliradian specification, it's 16 milliradians. Overall adjustment range is 65 minutes of angle, or 18.9 milliradians. Now that will dial you out to quite a long way. For example, if you had, say, a 308 rifle, zeroed at 100 yards, and you know, depending on what ammunition exactly you'd be using, you'd be looking at maybe 34-35 minutes of angle to hit a target at 1,000 yards. So with 65 minutes of angle available, or the equivalent 18.9 milliradians, you've got a long range scope, not just for air rifles or rimfires. Windage adjustment range is 40 minutes of angle, which is 11.6 milliradians. The minimum parallax distance, now that's quite interesting because that's what makes the scope more versatile and not just for use on centerfires. This one works down to 10 metres. Now what that means is that at air rifle ranges, where you know Element may have been seen the most so far, it's fantastic because you're not restricted to using very low magnification to get any kind of clear focus at short distance. When you're on longer targets using a centerfire rifle, if that's what you've chosen the scope for, it means you can still get that precision, and you're not getting the problem with parallax shift, which is essentially the reticle position effectively varying as your head position moves on the stock. What else does it say here? Right, the length is 14.3 inches, 363mm, which is about the norm. Nothing too big, nothing too small. Weight 26 ounces or 737 grams. So very much middle of the road for physical specifications and exactly what we need it to be. So let's have a look at the actual scope. What else have we got in here? We have got, this looks like a lens cleaning cloth. That is a lens cleaning cloth. We've got some Allen keys to make adjustments. This looks like, oh, that looks like a zoom extension lever, so you can screw that into the zoom dial. Sunshade. And this is the optic itself. So, great thing about unboxing videos is you can only do them once and you can do them first time. They're not always perfect, but that's what makes them true. Oh, I like those. They've got elasticated rubber lens caps, so there you go on there. That is it's called a throw lever actually, and that will screw probably, yes, there's a slot there that will screw into. So the Allen key takes that grub screw out, and that will slot in on top of that. I'll just pop that back in there. Now we also get objective and ocular lens caps, flip-up lens caps, which are probably most used in the field, although for protection I quite like those. And you can of course wrap those around the tube so that when it's on the rifle, you know, for an ultra lightweight sort of hunting setup, if you wrap the cables around the tube, flick those off, and they will hang down to the side without dropping off the gun. So let's have a little look at the rest of this now. I'm going to cut this label off. Right then, well, working from front to back, we've got 50mm objective lens. That's recessed about 15mm to give you more protection from any bumps up front, although you can also add the sunshade to it. In the centre, right side, these dials, I've got the adjustment on them. This one is a milliradian specification, so this dials from left and right of the 0 marker in the centre, and that looks like it goes around 3 milliradians in each direction, which is the equivalent of 30 centimetres at 100 metres. There's no lock on these, but you can, I think, take these caps off the end. Yes, you can. And taking the caps off the end is what makes it toolless, because then you can lift that off, click it back on, and once you've set your scope up and zeroed it, it's back to being where it needs to be. You don't need screwdrivers, Allen keys, or anything like that. It's quite a good combination because it's not the simplest of systems, which is just a dial underneath an external cap. This has got, you know, nice tactile turrets. You can grab them with your fingertips, and you don't need to be looking at them to actually feel the number of clicks you're applying or unapplying. Similarly, on the elevation dial, left side, we've got the parallax. The elevation turret sits up the same way. Take the cap off the top, you can lift the turret, zero it once the rifle's set up, and then when you twist anti-clockwise, you can add 6 milliradians per turn. There's a vernier scale on that, so you know which of the rotations up and down you are in, so you don't get totally lost if you are dialing extensively throughout your day's shooting. It's a 30mm tube. It's got quite a nice, very nice, smooth, hard anodised finish, so it doesn't pick up the dust from the skin of your hands. On the left side here, we've got parallax control. Now that's also got a cap on the end, which I've now dropped. So you can take the cap off, and it means if you actually want to fine tune that slightly, you can fine tune it so that the markings on it are more appropriate to what you actually find in the field in your air conditions and other atmospherics. That is quite interesting. Excuse me one moment. We're back in the room. Now the zoom ring on the back, that's very heavily segmented and knurled for grip there, so you can really get a good hold of that. But as I said, there is actually a little throw lever you can screw in there to speed things up for you. So that goes clockwise from 6 up to 24. And the back end is a fast focus eyepiece, so that will give you a clear reticle picture. Little tip for focusing a fast focus eyepiece: put the rifle pointing at a nice overcast sky at infinite distance. Don't, whatever you do, ever look at the bright sun or anything similar. Now the trick is that this should set up for your eye to be in a relaxed state. So if you just cover your eyes or close your eyes and then look into the infinite distance, your lens is effectively relaxing the eyes. That's what you actually want your eye to be in, that condition, when you see the reticle. So when you look straight through the rifle scope with your eye relaxed like that on infinity, the reticle should be clear and sharp. Now, if it's not clear and sharp and you twist this, your eye will naturally accommodate for it, but it's accommodating away from its natural, standard sort of relaxed setting. So ideally what you should do is you should look away, look at infinity, look out into that nice cloudy sky in the distance, never the bright sun. Look through the scope again after you've twisted it. Is it sharp yet? No. Look away, twist the scope a bit more, twist the lens a little bit more. Look back through it. Yeah, that's getting a bit clearer now. Look away more, twist it a bit more, look through it. Yeah, we really are on target now. And that's the way to get a fast focus fast focus setup, or any focusing setup, is to have your eye in that relaxed state, looking at infinity, then immediately to the reticle. And the moment the reticle is in correct focus, when you've just snapped from infinity back to it, that's with your eye in its most relaxed state. Generally, that means that when you get behind the rifle in any other conditions, you don't have to spend milliseconds waiting for your eye to accommodate for that reticle, which is just wasted time. And milliseconds can, in some situations, count. So, I'm going to be mounting this scope. I've got some rings for it, so we'll go to that in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.